From there, we started going into the other school districts off of referrals. And now we're in 23 school districts, serving over 300 schools with H.E.L.P.Snackz. This is a bag of food, and the outside has special messages for the kiddos. And these are some of these sayings my grandfather used to say to me.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
I'm your host, Ana Melikian, and my mission is to support individuals and organizations to increase their impact while avoiding burnout. If you want to work smarter, not harder, I can help you. If you want to go from burnout to full engagement, let's talk. Reach me at Ana, A-N-A, at mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com, it's .zone. You can also access all the episode notes, links, and other amazing resources at mindset.zone. Today, our special guest is Dawn Marie Rapaport. Dawn Marie started this amazing organization named H.E.L.P. Homelessness, Engagement, Lift, Partnership. And she started this 13 years ago here in Arizona. Their goals is to help restore dignity and hope to those who are homelessness in our community, starting with our kids. Welcome to the Mindset Zone, Dawn Marie.
Thank you for having me.
We met in person a couple of times, and when I heard about your organization, I was totally inspired by the work that you are doing. And I really like you to tell the story about what led you to start this organization 13 years ago.
Absolutely. It's like anything, we all find a purpose in life. And as a child, I didn't know at the time what my purpose was going to be in my adulthood. But being from Arizona here, I experienced a lot of homelessness as a child. So between the ages of 5 and 15, I was one of them homeless children that was in our community. And again, didn't quite understand why I was going through with what I was going through. I will say that I lived quite a lot of places here in Arizona, including parks, cars, and strangers' homes. Strangers' homes was the absolute worst. Stranger homes they're the boss, and having to deal with a lot of bad people out there. And I was a cute little girl, and I got taken advantage of as being that cute little girl. And again, I didn't understand what I was going through. I just knew that there was a lot of bad people.
Wow.
And when I was going to school, I would change schools anywhere from 4 to 6 times a year. And that in itself is trauma.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know, you don't understand. You're going into this school, you're meeting somebody, but they're not going to be friends very long. And so for me, it was, I tried to stay to myself. I got bullied and teased a lot, as I didn't dress like the others. I didn't have the fancy things. And sometimes I might not even have been able to take a shower. There was a lot of trauma there, and I didn't understand why school existed. And I was so behind in school. Every school starts a little differently, goes through it a little differently. So for me, it was, I was very behind. Couldn't read, couldn't do math.
We can see that afterwards when, as an adult, you had overcome all that challenges and you look back, oh, I want to help other people that are in similar situations, make all the sense. But before going there, how did you broke that cycle?
Well, I want to say that my out at the age of 15 was I got married. Being married at 15, I knew what I didn't want. I've been around not so good people all my life. And I did have my grandfather. My grandfather was my saving grace. And he gave me positive, uplifting sayings to me all the time to uplift my spirits. And I held on to that. And I also held on to all the negativity out there. And I took that saying, this is what I want to be. And I knew what I didn't want to be. And so at 15, I got married, held 3 jobs, finished school. I finished high school, which was amazing.
Incredible, because when we think about to get married 15 is wow, but in your case was stability.
Absolutely.
You got stability and you knew you were wise enough to pick a person that gave you stability.
Absolutely.
And that
Yes.
you flourish with that allow you, okay, now I can do something, I can be something. And tell us a little bit about, so once you got that stability that allow you to finish high school, to have a stable job, to bring a little bit, because was before you were like in quicksand all the time, and now you have a little bit of a base. What happened next?
Growing up and not having anything, I wanted to hold on to everything, right? So I thought money was the power and the answer to everything and stuff. So I collected everything and I had a good job and I had the big house and the cars. And then as my life was going on, I realized I was really missing something. Didn't know what it was. Took me many years to figure that out. And I knew there was just something missing. And 13 years ago, it all changed. It all changed. I decided in one day, one afternoon, going down the street, I seen a homeless man holding up a sign like we always do all the time. But this time was different. This time he was holding the sign up that said, all I'm looking for is water. But I seen in his eyes and I knew, and I heard this prompting, there's more for you. You have a bigger purpose. There's a bigger purpose for you. And I pulled off to the side of the road. I cried for about 45 minutes, hearing this in my head, not knowing what this was going to look like. But I cried my whole childhood. And I knew I had to do something. And it was going to surround the homeless. And I went home to my amazing husband and I said, we're going to change the world. And I said it just like that too. And he looked at me and went, okay, what are we doing? And we did it. We started, we weren't sure what it was going to look like, but we stepped into it.
Wow.
You know, we followed what the words were telling us and following God and following and walking into his footsteps.
Absolutely amazing. Odyssey, you had so many tribulations in your life. And I want to go a moment back to that moment that you saw that homeless person that he made the click. In any ways, were you thinking, I could be that person? I'm just wondering if that crossed your mind.
I want to say, yes, that did happen. It was a little bit, but the strong words, because words are very important. And my grandfather, when he would tell me these positive words, they were very strong. And I will say that from that, I knew I was gonna, and if I thought about it, it was only for a second. Only for a second. because I knew that I was going into a different direction.
I love that. And I love this for so many reasons. And also for one thing, is enough one person to make a difference in our lives.
Absolutely.
It,
Absolutely.
in your case was your grandfather, but sometimes it's a teacher, sometimes is a friend, sometimes is a book that we read. That there is a message there that resonates with us, or somebody that we don't know personally, but we listen to their tapes or see their lectures there. But there is like that seed of hope and change, and it's enough one seed to make all the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's fast forward now. 14 years have passed since that moment that we are going to change the world. Tell us a little bit about the programs that you have at H.E.L.P. and how are you changing the world in your day-to-day with your organization?
So at first, it was like we did an outreach for everybody that was homeless. That was our net, right? Until 6 years ago, where we really narrowed it down. And mind you, I'm a big believer in stepping through and taking action. So when I'm prompted, I want to take action and make it happen. And so 6 years ago, it was time to be in the schools. It was time to work with the schools and help kids that experience some form of homelessness out there, just like I did. And so going into the Deer Valley was my first step. And I walked in there and I walked in with a new program called H.E.L.P.Snackz, non-perishable bag of food that goes to at-risk, displaced, and homeless children in our community. And from there, they approved the program. And from there, we started going into the other school districts off of referrals, where this school district would say, we want to be a part of that. And it just kept spreading and spreading. And now we're in 23 school districts, serving over 300 schools with H.E.L.P.Snackz. And this is a bag of food that goes in, and the outside has special messages for the kiddos on the outside. And some of these sayings are what my grandfather used to say to me.
I love that.
And so that's our prime, that's our signature program. And we're now doing 25,000 of them a month, bags a month.
And let's pause a moment there, because this is, I think, so precious in so many different ways, because you are giving this, how do you say, the food, they need that food and they need that nutrition, because sometimes after they have the school meal, they go home and there is nothing. So it's good at least they have that. But you know that, yes, it's absolutely important, vital to feed the body, but you also have to feed their soul. And part of that is that giving that seed of that message, that positive message that allows them, there is somebody that cares, and how do you say, you can do something different in the future.
Absolutely. Around here, we say the food in the inside fills their tummy, and the outside with the words fill their soul.
Can you give us a couple of examples of the message that are outside these H.E.L.P.Snackz?
Yes, absolutely. One of them would be, and I don't have my list, but I'm just going to go off of memories and things. You can change the world. I can change the world. Always look up. There's a brighter day ahead.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I love the simplicity of it. Doesn't need to be something, it's something simple that I bet some days they look at it and go, but there will be a day that makes that connection and gives them hope.
And I got to tell you, I've experienced that some of these kids that have kept these bags after they eat the food in the inside, and they hold on to these sayings and they read them. I ran into this one little boy that said that he takes the bags and he gets them out every morning and he reads them before he goes to school.
Wow.
That's precious.
Yes. And how many years are you doing this H.E.L.P.Snackz program now?
It's just about 6 years now.
6 years. Do you have any stories of kids that finish high school, or are they still in the school system? Do you have any kind of idea of how this impacting individuals as they progress in life?
That is a great question. So we have now been able to do more interaction with the students in the schools. So as they're getting into high school and as they're graduating, we're doing like job fairs and life skill classes, right? We have particular this one gal that came in and she goes, I just all through when I was going in through middle school, and I'm getting these snacks with these messages, and I'm here taking these words in, and I know I can do anything. I just, whatever I put my mind to. And it was such a good feeling to be able to know that these words that impact these kiddos.
And I love that, because I think your goal is to stop this cycle of homelessness. Stopping kids homelessness is where your organization decide, okay, is here where we can have a bigger impact. You have that specific program, the H.E.L.P.Snackz, with snacks for the body and the soul, and you are doing other things to help them develop their life skills, develop skills that can help them break the cycle.
Yes, absolutely. So working with the schools is really very impactful for us. It helps us because as students are needing the extra help, the homeless advocates and the counselors are calling us for, like, we have a family, this is what's going on with them. So we're then able to help them with some of our other programs, like our back to school tools program, to helping kiddos there with all the tools and all the things they need. Our HHF program, helping hungry families, where we developed this during COVID, where we deliver grocery bags of food to these families in need that are going through crisis. We have our summits that we're doing, where we're teaching life skill classes for not only the kids and the teenagers, but the younger adults, the young parents that are just trying to make it. The idea is we have to change that cycle. We have to change that generational problem, because all we're going to see is more issues, more problems. It keeps growing and growing. And we have to stop and think, these kids, if we stop it there, if we really work with them, it's gonna change generational.
Yep. And how to keep this organization running for this long and be able to provide all these different types of programs, you have to have support of the community. You have to get
Absolutely.
resources in to be able to give out. What is being the thing that is helping you better to spread the word and to get the support of the community for your organization?
A lot of it is word of mouth. Believe it or not, we hear so many that come in and say, we heard from such and such. And we also have teamed up with a lot of different companies out there and churches and organizations. So we're always looking for businesses to partner up with us and organizations so that we can continue being sustainable. And there's so many ways. We have programs like a business can do a team building and we bring everything to them. They can do a fundraiser, and it's fun. They look good, and it's a great way to build community support and the business. Actually, again, I say it again, they look good. We just come in and have the party, and they put together H.E.L.P.Snackz and different companies around the valley. And yeah, it's beautiful. But yes, we do look for businesses and organizations to join in, and churches.
And also volunteers, correct?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Always looking for volunteers that would come in, whether they're coming in to be help at one of our events, or whether they're going to use their gifts and their talents and help us in other areas that we need. So if there's a volunteer out there that is like, I am good in blogging, let's just use that, right?
Yes.
And they want to give back, that's what we're looking for. So we're looking for people like that to really step up and be able to help mentor, a teenager. So there's so many different options for somebody to get involved.
Love it, love it. And you also, in part of that volunteer, do you have for like teenagers can volunteer to help your organization?
Absolutely. We're very, very family oriented. So it really is nice to show, because kids will come, bring their kids to volunteer, and they'll be like, really? There's kids that don't get this? There's kiddos that don't get that meal after they leave the school grounds. They don't get to pick out their own backpack. We just hear stories, and we want to empower families too that have kids out there that know what's going on. So that's the next generation that's going to want to help our community as well.
Love it. So how can people learn more about your organization, how to get involved and how to support it?
Absolutely. So the first thing is they really should go to our website and see all the different opportunities there. And there's ways to go in there if they want to do a one-to-one and get a little bit more detailed. They'll go to the website, click on something, a button, and basically get connected with us, and then we'll reach out to them. But our website is helpnowaz.org. helpnowaz.org.
I will make sure that I have it in the show notes, because it's really important to spread the word about people making a difference. I think my goal here at Mindset Zone is how can we amplify our possibilities, expanding what's possible, a lot to the work around our mindsets. And the work that you are doing with your organization is really doing that, expanding what's possible, because it's a big problem, homelessness. And sometimes, okay, I cannot do anything about, we can do something about it. We can start with small things. They can volunteer some hours if they own a business, collaborate with you in somehow, and they can still make an impact and make a difference, and even change their views about homelessness and what can be done to change it.
Absolutely. There's a misnomer. People think they need to get a job, things like that. The families that we help, they all have jobs. Most of them all have jobs. They just need help with a little bit more.
Yep. Love that. So thank you so much for sharing your message. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, because it's a lot of work, and for making a difference in our community.
Thank you. Thank you again so much for having me.
Expanding possibilities, the mindset zone.
Thank you for listening. And remember to follow this podcast. And if you are listening in Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. That really helps us spread the word about the Mindset Zone. Also visit mindset.zone. Yes, instead of .com is .zone. There you can find amazing resources and more information about my speaking and how I support purpose-driven individuals and organizations increase their impact while preventing burnout. As always, I'm so grateful that you are here. Expand what's possible for you, for the ones around you, for the world.